I was still dressed in black when she said it. Her little boy's mouth was stained with bright blue frosting. Her friends and family raising glasses, laughing, clinking crystal like the afternoon was one long toast to her perfect life. Then she tapped a spoon against her champagne flute, the metallic chime slicing through the chatter. She looked at me with that infuriating, knowing smile, as if she was about to share some inside joke meant just for us. Then she raised her voice so the entire room could hear. My son is your husband's child. So, as his rightful inheritance, I'll be taking half of your $800,000 house. She even held up a piece of paper, my late husband's will, like she was a stage magician revealing the winning card. I dug my nails into my palms, not to hold back tears, those had dried up days ago, but to keep from laughing out loud, because she had no idea what I already knew. I met Daniel when I was 23. He wasn't flashy, but he had this quiet charm. His shoes were always polished, his eyes warm, the kind of man who listened as though your every word mattered. My sister Clara adored him from the beginning. She told me we were perfect together, and I believed her. Why wouldn't I? She was my closest friend, my other half. For 12 years, I thought I had both a devoted husband and a loyal sister. That was my first mistake, assuming the two could exist in the same space without destroying each other. The first fracture appeared last summer. Daniel began working late more often, and I didn't question it at first. But then came the way he angled his phone away from me at dinner. The way Clara's eyes darted elsewhere when she visited. One day, I found Daniel's cufflinks on the floor of Clara's guest room. She laughed it off, saying she'd borrowed them for a costume party and forgotten to return them. I smiled and told her it was fine, but something inside me went cold in that moment. I didn't confront either of them. Instead, I became watchful. I began collecting evidence. And it was far easier than I expected. Daniel had a secret email account, subject lines bearing Clara's name. Hotel receipts buried in his trash folder. I printed everything, dated everything, building a meticulous record. No tears. No screaming. Just quiet preparation. 3 weeks before Daniel's accident on the highway, I visited our lawyer, the same one Daniel used, and told him we wanted to update our will. I insisted the house be transferred fully into my name, no joint ownership, no division upon death. Daniel signed the papers without reading them. He'd always trusted me to handle the paperwork. That outdated will Clara had been brandishing was 6 months old. The police told me Daniel died instantly. I nodded, thanked them, and made the necessary arrangements. At the funeral, Clara wrapped her arms around me and whispered, "I'm here for you." I wondered if she could feel my heartbeat, steady, calm, almost eager. When she invited me to her son's first birthday, I accepted. I dressed in black deliberately. I wanted to see her face when the snare tightened. And now here we were. Her triumphant announcement hung in the air, freezing forks midway to mouths. I stepped forward, my voice low but carrying through the silence. "Oh, I see," I said evenly. She smirked, thinking she had me trapped. "I'll contact the lawyer Monday," she added, patting my arm like a gracious winner. "That won't be necessary," I replied, slipping a single sheet of paper from my purse, the real will. Current. Notarized. Ironclad. "This," I said, "is the only document that counts." Her smirk faltered as I placed it on the cake table, crumbs and icing smudging the edges. Daniel had left everything to me. The house. The accounts. Even the car she was so fond of borrowing. She reached for the paper, but I laid my hand firmly over it. "Careful," I said softly. "Smudge this, and you'll have to pay for another certified copy. And from what I hear, raising a child on your own isn't exactly cheap." A sharp breath from somewhere in the crowd. Clara opened her mouth to reply, but I wasn't done. "One more thing," I said, letting my voice drop to something almost gentle. "You might want to be cautious about making public claims about your son's father, especially claims that imply my husband was involved. There are laws about defaming the dead. And I have all your messages, proof of exactly what you were doing while he was alive." The color drained from her face. I leaned in so only she could hear. "If you push me, Clara, I will drag you into court for alienation of affection. And I will take everything you have left, including him." The rest of the party was awkward silence and forced smiles. Guests began leaving in clusters, avoiding her eyes. She didn't say goodbye to me. I drove home without music, without speaking. My dress was still crisp, my lipstick unbroken. I poured a glass of wine and sat at the same kitchen table where Daniel and I used to eat together. I had expected grief or rage. Instead, I felt clean. Revenge isn't about screaming across a room or smashing plates. It's in the quiet, in the paperwork, in the patience, in letting your opponent think they've already won until you pull the floor out from under them. Clara will keep the outdated will I handed her, turning it over in her mind at night, wondering how she miscalculated. She'll hear my voice in the dark, reminding her she could lose her child if she ever crosses me again. People think the betrayal is the worst part. They're wrong. The worst part is realizing how easily someone you love can believe you're blind. The best part is showing them you never were. Daniel is gone. Clara is silent. The house is mine. And sometimes, when I walk through it, I imagine his voice teasing me, asking what I'm thinking. I'd smile, refill my glass, and tell him the truth. I'm thinking about the day your mistress tried to steal half my home and walked away with nothing.